Welcome to my presentation on impact of color in medical device design. My name is Christine Park. I'm an industrial designer and CMF specialist. So CMF stands for color, material, and finishing. So I help companies make confident color decisions based on information and research. And I prevent them from going, let's go with green because it's my daughter's favorite color. So let me tell you a story. Long time ago, all the hospitals in North America, it used to be white. All the walls were painted white. The doctors, nurses, everyone wore white. Everything was white. That was great because white was perceived to be clean, and you want hospitals to be clean, right? But in the early 1900s, this new electric lighting system started making waves into hospitals. It allowed staff to see better at night, but it made all the traditional white seem very bright and glaring on the eyes. So in 1914, this American surgeon named Harry Sherman thought, I gotta do something about this white. It's making my eyes tire out really fast when I'm performing surgery for hours. So he experimented with green because green was the least reflective color. So he painted all the walls, the floors, he changed out all the garments, everything to green. And then he found out that his eyes were able to rest and focus on the site where he was performing surgery on. So since then, medical device industry has come a long way. We understand the huge impact that color can have. So there's two things I want to do today. First, I want to tell you why color works. And then number two, I want to tell you how you can make color work for you. So why does color work? Well, it works because you can use it to create brand identity, you can use it to improve usability, and control the emotional response of the user. And then, so how do you make color work for you? Well, I'm going to show you the 3 steps that you can take to choose the right color for your medical device. So when you create a color palette for your company and then use it consistently across your product line, you could create a brand recognition. So there's a great example of this in music player industry. So in the 90s, all the music player industry was dominated by the use of silver and black. They chose silver because it's associated with luxury and high tech. And black is also seen as being slick and professional and credible. So everyone used silver and black. But that meant it's hard to tell which was which brand. So in the early 2000s, Apple came along and they changed the whole game. And this was groundbreaking because Apple was one of the first companies to recognize that you can use color to set yourself apart from everyone else. And they chose white because it's pure, it's clean, it's very uncluttered. So it complements their overall minimalistic design. And color helps you to set yourself apart from others because, see, logos, they become hard to recognize from a distance. And forms and shapes, they also are hard to recognize from a further distance. But color is one of the easiest things to recognize. So if you saw someone with white cords hanging out of their ears, you knew immediately, that person has an Apple iPod. And owning an Apple iPod brought you this certain status in the society. It meant that you were different, and it also meant that you could afford to pay a little extra to be different from everyone else. And that's what Apple wanted. And soon all the companies started copying Apple and introduced white into their product line. So once again, the market was saturated with the use of white, and it was hard to tell different brands. So in 2008, Dr. Dre, who's a famous hip-hop producer, introduced Beats. and he introduced the color red. So when you see this red with black, what does that make you feel? What do you think it represents?
Aggression.
I'm sorry?
Aggression.
Aggression, yes. Bad.
Passion.
Passion, yes. Sexy, rebel, it's badass, right? So, badass might not be the appropriate image for a medical device industry. So let's look at some of the examples in medical device. So GE uses this blue across their product line, healthcare product line. They chose this blue because blue has this calming effect, and you want your patients to feel calm, right? So Siemens also uses this variation of blue. They use this blue-green consistently across their product line. So when you look at this image without any logos, can you tell which brand is which brand? So the one on the left, which brand is that? Right, and then on the right? Exactly. So I think you understand my point. So let's look at how you could improve usability by using color to increase workflow efficiency and make the device intuitive to use. So you can use color to group and organize different functions together. This is an ultrasound machine designed by Philips. When you first look at this device, it's got so many buttons and features, it's so confusing, you don't know where to look. But Philips uses this orange to group the primary functions together. And then they use the dark gray to group the secondary functions together. And the keyboard is the same color as the main body because the designers wanted it to just blend in with the rest of the device. And in the same way, you can use color to train the users to remember and associate different colors with different sizes or different tasks or different features. So when you look at this needle gauge, doctors and nurses can remember, oh, orange is the smallest gauge, blue is the next smallest, and so on. This is a device for seniors with diabetes. And so this purple is the pill box, blue is a heart rate monitor, and then so on. So when a senior user wakes up in the morning, doesn't have her glasses on, even though she can't recognize the symbol or the writing, she can still recognize the color and remember, oh, purple is my pill box, and grab the pill box. And color can also be used to guide the eye flow of the user. So when you look at this thermometer for infants and children, where does your eyes go first? The tip, right? Because it's pointy, and also because it uses this bold green. And you immediately recognize, oh, this is a tip that I'm supposed to point to the baby to take measurements, right? And then after that, the second read is the oval green block. And that has all the critical information and the buttons. And then the two buttons that allow you to change from forehead to ear measurement mode is kept out of the block on purpose because it doesn't get used as often. So the designer uses color to direct your eye flow from first read to second read to third read, but they use color to make the device seem slimmer than it actually is. Because your eyes rest on this bold green, the rest of the body, which is just neutral white, they kind of fade away. And so you think that it's slimmer than it actually is. This is a sternal intraosseous device that we designed for military use. Our client asked us to make this whole thing just black because all of their devices were black, but we convinced the client that that wasn't the right direction because in a combat situation, medics don't have time to figure out which way to hold the device and how to interact with it, right? So we highlighted the pull tab with this bold red because red calls your attention. And then once they pull the tab off, they can see the orange thumb placement. We have to remember that when we use color to improve usability, 8% of the male population suffer from some form of color blindness. So on the upper left, you see how a normal person sees color. And then there's examples of how color appears to somebody with different forms of color blindness. And there's resources online where you could upload your picture to make sure that your color choices for your device does not cause any use errors. So now that we talked about how color can establish brand identity and how it can be used to improve usability, let's talk about fun stuff. So color is very emotional, and your response depends on your past experience and also your culture. Color is divided into two sections. Cool colors are popular in medical device industry because it has that calming effect. It's very passive, and it's also associated with the color the temperature cold. And warm colors are active. They call you to action, and they're also associated with temperature warm. So I'm going to go over just a few examples of color psychology. So let's talk about this blue in this MRI room. What does this blue make you feel like?
Calm.
Very calm.
Peaceful.
And
Peaceful. It looks like a spa, right? So blue is associated with tranquility, loyalty, trustworthy, right? But it's also, as mentioned before, can be seen as being cold. So they use this warm yellow to balance that out. And green is associated with healing, freshness, and growth. So that's why it's very popular in pediatric devices. And white. What did I say white is associated with?
Clean.
Yes, cleanliness, purity, sterile. So it's very appropriate for medical devices. And this device, which is a blood pressure monitor designed by Omron, it screams out medical device. But it's very intuitive to use because they highlight the start button with this bold blue, and then all the information and buttons are contained in this gray block, right? So this is designed for users who value usability and might not care so much about aesthetics. So this is another blood pressure monitor designed by the same company, but for a different target market. So users of this device might be somebody who cares more about their self-image, values aesthetics more. And that's why they went with black, because black is slick, it's elegant, it's professional. So now that we've talked about how color can be used to establish brand identity and improve usability, and we also went over a little bit about how it affects users' emotional response, let's talk about how you can make color work for you by taking these steps to choose the right colors for your medical device. So number one, you need to understand your users. We need to study what their needs are, but go beyond and study what motivates them, what's their aspiration, what are their goals. So this is pediatric asthma inhaler, but they clearly don't understand their users because they use this ugly muted blue and they make this inhaler look like an ugly medical device. So every time this poor kid picks up his inhaler, it reminds him that, oh, he has a medical issue. It reminds him that he's different from all the other kids. And he's probably embarrassed to use this in front of his friends. This is another inhaler designed for children. It was designed for a 3D printing competition. The designer used fun shapes and also very fun colors to make it look like a really cool toy. And so that same sad boy, when he picks up this device, I'm sure he'll be much more delighted to use this. And when his friends see him using this device, his friends will think, oh, that's the kid with the really cool gadget, instead of thinking, oh, that kid with the ugly medical device who's got this breathing issue. I don't know why, he's sick all the time, right? So it takes the attention away from the medical issue and presents this fun gadget. So after you understand your users and what emotional state and mental state they're in, we need to research what's going on in the market. This is research that we did for a nasal spray that treats migraines. So we not only looked at nasal sprays, we looked at other products that the user might use. And this is sleep aid devices. And then we want to decide on a message that we want to communicate to the users. So I know from experience that when you have a migraine, it's a really severe pain and you just want your day to be over. You just want to fall asleep. But it feels like it's just not going to happen. So really wanted to present that message of empathy, like a comfort from drinking a warm tea, and also a message of quietness like the ocean, calmness of a Zen garden, and hope of green forest, and warmth of afternoon sun. And we wanted to communicate personality as well, because this is a device that you're supposed to carry around with you. So all of that research and our decision on the message gets translated into a color palette. So this is a color palette that was inspired by sleep aid devices, and we titled it Quiet Yellow. So we paired this muted yellow that provides warmth with blue grays to give that feeling of empathy and positive appeal. And through our research, we found out that majority of migraine sufferers are women, and yoga is a popular activity among women. So we took inspiration from what's going on in the yoga product industry. We titled it Calming Seafoam. So we used this subtle hint of seafoam that has a calming effect and paired it with deep purple to give this color palette a very mature and soothing effect. So now that we talked about how color can be used consistently to establish brand identity and can be used to improve usability by increasing workflow efficiency and making the device intuitive to use, and we also talked about how color can be used to control the emotional response of the users, we now know 3 steps that you can take to choose the right color for your devices. So now you see the impact that color can have on medical device design. So I hope you use it as a powerful design tool to deliver a positive experience for patients and medical staff. Thank you.